Welcome to March Malcontent, the only YouTube show to make this claim. Our first match is Mii Brawler against Villager. As a recap, for anyone who may have forgotten, or may not have even watched previous episodes, everyone who wins one of these matches in this current set of the next 20 matches will also be making it to the tournament. That does not disqualify anyone who does not win their matches in this set. However, it does drastically decrease their odds. Villager got the down throw, but not the up B follow-up. I guess it does change depending on which special move this Mii Brawler got. I usually gave all of the amiibo the recovery move with the most recovery. However, if I remember right, Mii Brawler's... Nice kill from Mii Brawler, by the way. Mii Brawler's special moves didn't vary as wildly between the recovery options. Villager gets a retaliatory spike against Mii Brawler. The kind of spike that just screams out, "Screw you" in particular. Mii Brawler rolled at the ledge. Not something you want to do. There it is again. Rolling into the ledge doesn't even make it back. Advantage Villager. Rolling at the ledge isn't particularly beneficial because the character won't roll off the ledge ever. They will only roll at the ledge, meaning that the movement, which is half of the perks of using the roll move, is just negated because you kind of just somersault in place. Or backflip, or just kind of lean to the side. A little interesting that they made an entire mechanic around, well, dodging just being going into the Z-axis to avoid attacks. And then when that didn't work perfectly well, they just added invincibility to it anyway. Obviously, I like the system. This is an amazing game. It is, however, interesting nonetheless. But nowhere near as egregious as Street Fighter. From what I understand, they have moves that are straight up invincible to only aerials, or moves that are invincible only to projectiles. They very much have strictly defined moves which need to counter other moves, and will give them as much invincibility as they need to. That's gonna kill Mii Brawler. No, Mii Brawler makes it back! Call me surprised. Alright, that will kill Mii Brawler, though. Which means that Villager will be making it to the tournament. Next up, Marth against Palutena. Alright, looks like we're going to be on Mementos. Definitely a stage with a non-traditional layout. Personally, I appreciate the variety. Even if it does lead to some awkward situations where characters on the right end of the stage can't properly punish landing on the top platform. It does make it more unique, though. With variety being the spice of life, any extra additions to this game are welcome. Even if some characters are maybe less welcome than others. Which I guess I should probably address. Recently there have been talks about Steve being banned in the competitive scene, even some tournaments banning him to some extent. The different ban levels are different based off of each tournament. Turns out it's really hard to try to just ban a character, as it turns out. We're not going to be doing any of that. Or at least, unless it becomes, like, incredibly... It would have to get pretty out of hand to start banning characters. Palutena makes it back without even needing to use a recovery. The advantage of having a usable airspeed. Gets Marth with the up smash on the top platform. The closer you are to Palutena, the harder that move hits you. However, the edges of the up smash do still do damage and knockback. Marth almost hard punishing Palutena to death. Doesn't quite pull it out in the end, but he definitely gets the percentage lead. Palutena is using a lot of up smash here. I do understand that Marth has been above her a lot of the time. Now she's doing really well, all of a sudden. Marth goes for a combo, unable to get that combo. Now Palutena is fully healed, putting her exactly one stock ahead of Marth. It's always a little harder to judge in Smash Bros. How much a stock is worth. Obviously, they're the only important resource in the game, yeah, except for, characters who have side resources. As, I guess, a general rule of thumb, you can expect a stock to get you to live to about 115%, depending on, on how heavy your character is. If you're like Jigglypuff or Pichu, you're probably only living till 90. For going against a character with lots of incredibly painful kill options, you can probably reduce it by about 15%. You can see how it starts to get pretty complicated. It astounds me that tournaments that, with all their competitive rule sets, one of the things they include is that if a match ever goes to time, it's decided by whoever has the most percentage at the end of the match. Which is a little strange, because in Smash Bros. One of its defining features is that percentage does not strictly dictate when you die. You can take 999% and then it just tops out. Now, if your opponent's trying to kill you, you're probably not going to hit that high, but it can be done. It's kind of why Super Sudden Death works the way it does. Which, by the way, for this tournament, we will be using Super Sudden Death rules. It's more in line with the game, and it means that I don't have to go back in editing, especially with auto-heal constantly adjusting the character's stats. Next up on the docket, we've got Banjo against Charizard. I'll tell you what, when picking the colors for all the different amiibo, because currently we have Squirtle, Ivysaur, and Charizard, it was more annoying than you'd think to make sure that the amiibo did not have duplicate costumes. You'd think that normally you just put them all into the same match. However, if an amiibo tries to take a color that's already taken, it goes to the next slot. So in order to make sure, I had to scan them all in separately to ensure that they weren't duplicating any colors. It gets even more confusing because the different Pokemon Trainer colors they look different on the different Pokemon and in the different trainer. So you can't even look at them and go, oh, that's the bluish one. Especially because Pokemon Trainer specifically has like 2 or 3 bluish colorations. Charizard using a Flare Blitz, but at the max range, so it's unable to hit Banjo. He does avoid the eggs, which probably saved his life, but he keeps using Flare Blitz off the edge. I don't know how you stop an amiibo from doing that, if you even can. Gets a forward air on stage, that's going to kill Banjo. Switching to Squirtle, actually a decent time to switch to the small water turtle. Pokemon Trainer switching Pokemon out of the combo. Basically, the Pokemon switch acts like an extra air dodge. Interestingly enough, though, the switching Pokemon does not replenish your jumps or your air dodge scaling. You can basically think of it as a move that, even though it switches out the Pokemon, keeps the same character just with a different stance or form. Banjo's not able to make it back even with the Wonder Wing. Banjo's on his last stock already. You can tell, well, first of all by looking, but also when the music speeds up, there are some tracks that have a faster version at the end of the timer. Well, it's either on a time mode at the end of the time, or on stock mode when someone's at their last life. It actually is an interesting detail. It does make some matches definitely more intense. I can definitely understand why they won't try to do it for all, 900 songs at this point? It's a lot of songs. Including a song that, if you want to have, you need to buy a Kingdom Hearts game. They were doing so well until the very end where they decided, you know what, let's make them buy a second game for one song. The worst that got before that was, oh, you get a free song when you buy this Mii costume, which costs a little bit under $1. And that's the match, which means Charizard will be making it onto April Anger. US R.O.B against Mario. One will win, one will not win. I know, prophetic stuff here. Alright, looks like they're going to be on the Castlevania stage. Don't remember the name of the stage. It's probably Dracula's Castle? Or at least a part of Dracula's Castle. Really good combo from Mario there. Chaining a lot of up airs together. Puts him at an early lead. More up airs. R.O.B breaks out of the combo, but not after taking hefty damage himself. Gets coined by Mario. That's not, you know, an actual term, by the way. That's just when a Mario brother hits you and hits one coin out of you. Some people call it getting coined. R.O.B with a taunt there. That is incredibly disappointing. I thought... Well, I don't think I've ever actually seen him taunt before. That must mean he has a very, very low taunt value. It is honestly one of the risks you run on some of these older amiibo, the amiibo who have been in longer. Before I established the spirit method... Nice dunk from Mario, by the way. Before I established the spirit method of which spirits to give him, I just gave him spirits until they met the stat requirements. Which, coincidentally, if you ever want to get an amiibo with balanced stats, you want to get a lot of Smeargles. There are also some others like Waddle Dee, Gooey, and Primid, who will definitely help you get close. Also, if you apply the effect spirit first, it'll usually balance out the stats still instead of offsetting them. Anyways, so a lot of the older amiibo have honestly just random spirits shoved into them, which, as it turns out, gets risky because some of those spirits include features of randomly taunting or jumping a lot. The jumping one was actually especially annoying. Many amiibo I had to specifically train jumping out of them. Which, as personal advice, I just recommend up smashing with Bowser a bunch. Eventually they get the hint and they stop jumping. Amazing dunk from R.O.B with another taunt. It was after a kill, but it still does not look good on his future outlook. Especially because he's so far behind this match. Does not get a combo off the up throw. Instead, he rolls into a back air. Goes for another dunk, doesn't get it. Doing a good job working Mario over, but he's still not winning. That almost just killed Mario. Mario's turn, down tilt to up smash. Not normally a combo on Mario, but... And the up smash is going to take it. R.O.B picking up his own gyro and doing nothing with it. R.O.B is just having the hardest time getting out of these combos. Mario's already surpassed R.O.B in percent, basically locking away the victory. Especially with this Mario's up smashes out of... Well, not out of nowhere, but Mario is using a lot of up smashes, and they are killing R.O.B. R.O.B is a heavy character, but by no means the heaviest. He's merely heavier than many. Mario trying to get a sideways dunk. Playing off stage. They both make it back. Not getting a combo off the top. On stage dunk. The double dunk. R.O.B is Mario off stage, but Mario's going to make that back. Mario loses his stage invincibility. Something you need to know if you want to play this game competitively is that you can't re-grab the ledge twice without repercussions. R.O.B finally gets the second kill on Mario, but it's going to be too late. Well, you know, most probably. at such a high percent. Forward throw won't kill. R.O.B having to air dodge to the ledge for his own life. Keeps missing a lot of these up airs. Almost died there to the up smash. And every time he misses an up air is a really good chance for Mario to punish him. Gets some good damage on, but he's doing a really good job of surviving here, I gotta say. He's been at over 130 for a while. And the up smash from Mario is gonna barely connect, killing R.O.B off the top. Next, we've got Simon against Corrin. Some of you who've been in the Smash scene for a while may remember that back in the day, Corrin was especially noted for having some of the longest-reaching normal attacks. There were, of course, Mega Man's forward smash and Meat Gunner's forward smash that did outrange Corrin's forward smash. However, on the whole, Corrin having a sword and a penchant for turning into limbs into just long, dragony things. Which, by the way, if you ever look at like the forward smash closely, it's not like a dragon spear. Corrin literally turns her fingers just super long, which is apparently something that Fire Emblem dragon people can do. Usually they just straight up turn into a dragon. From my understanding, I haven't played many of the games. I did play the mobile game for a while, until it basically went the way of all mobile games. Actually, the reason I quit was way back in the very beginning of the Takumi meta. He had the best attack and a counterattack that made it so that you could not kill him without losing your own unit. The best part of that story, though, is every time I mention it to someone who still plays the game, the first thing they say is, oh, well, he hasn't been useful for... Or something along the lines of, oh, what, Takumi? He's good? I guess the game has changed incredibly drastically since I played. For one thing, they actually used all the available skill slots on a character now. They used to just kind of be empty. Simon getting a quick throw out by the ledge, almost evening things up. Oh yeah, that reminds me, the whole reason I brought up Corrin's long normals is that one of the first characters announced, not the first of course, but one of the first characters announced for Smash Ultimate was Simon and Richter. And everyone was incredibly worried because their whip is just so long. And even in a casual setting, the long whip can actually be incredibly useful. As long as you're not on a slope or near a wall. They had to add features so that you couldn't use the whip through walls. For those who don't know, some moves with particularly long reach can reach through walls of usually pretty thin walls. You can test it out in the stage builder if you really want specific details. But certain attacks, like the Belmont's Whip, actually detects if there's a wall, and if there is, the attack ends early. Honestly, though, you mainly ever see it on Peach's Castle because it has the big, I guess the tower in the middle. So if you ever try to attack into it, your attacks just won't work because they hit the wall. Quick forward tilt at the ledge is going to kill Corrin. Simon's on the back foot, but it can be made up. This is Bridge of Eldin, of course, which, first of all, coming from an amazing game, Twilight Princess, fantastic, highly recommend you play it. Probably the best Zelda game. Breath of the Wild is really good, but I think of it as like a Zelda Skyrim sort of deal. It's more of a different experience. And of course, all the other Zelda games are still good. I don't think I've played a bad Zelda. Switching rapid jabs off screen, that was a... Simon does not get his shield broken. Something you gotta worry about when you're holding it out against extended forward smashes for a while. And that's going to secure the victory for Simon. Ridley against Incineroar. Both heavyweights, although it depends on how you define the term, because Ridley is basically a heavyweight who has a little bit extra mobility, and his downside is that he isn't as heavy. But in most other senses, he basically is a heavyweight. He has a very large frame. There are actually a couple of characters like that in the game that are basically heavies, but not because of blank. It does definitely mean you have a lot more variety if you like playing the big characters. That's going to scrape Incineroar all the way to the edge and kill him. Very good stage transition for Ridley here. Incineroar brings it back with an up smash. Ridley with the ledge trump doesn't capitalize it. Almost SDs off the bottom. He doesn't. Ridley has a very big recovery and an additional jump. It's one of the perks of having wings. You get a third jump. It is a little odd that there's no character with wings who gets 4 jumps. Actually, maybe Meta Knight does. This would be a great time for me in the future to double check this claim and see if I'm correct or not. Ridley makes it back to the stage with the backwards angled up B. So, something that gets people a lot of the time about Ridley's recovery move a lot of the time is that you can't angle it. Well, so you can, but you can only angle it in the 4 cardinal directions. And even then, if you angle it backwards, you actually go up slightly. If you angle it forwards, you go down slightly. And I believe up sends you backwards and down sends you forwards. So it's kind of like his axis is skewed just a little bit. It is useful to know when you're Ridley. And I guess if you're trying to edge guard him, you know, he can only go back in the cardinal directions. But you gotta watch out because his side B is a command grab that will throw you underneath the stage. Or getting hit by the fire, stage transition does not save him. That means Ridley's gonna get this victory. Last match of the video, we've got Zero Suit Samus against Jigglypuff. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and predict it now. Jigglypuff is going to try to edgeguard Zero Suit Samus and get killed by a flip kick. It's a spike, and if Jigglypuff's already used some of her jumps, she does not have enough to make it back. Or maybe Jigglypuff will just never get to land. Being a character with an incredibly slow fall speed, one of the slowest, probably the slowest if I had to guess, makes it difficult for the amiibo to land, especially because the amiibo hasn't figured out that Jigglypuff having the second best airspeed in the game, only beaten out by Yoshi, that it is often easier to go to the ledge or even go off stage. And Jigglypuff gets killed off the top. Zero Suit Samus wall jumping right next to the ledge. I will say, it's a very underwhelming wall jump. It's weird, the characters who have more agility normally have a wall jump, but some of the fastest characters have the worst wall jumps. Meanwhile, Little Mac has the best wall jump. He does need that really good wall jump. Jigglypuff does land a rest. It doesn't kill Zero Suit, though. The flower on her head does just directly counteract the auto heal, though. Rollout, not gonna kill. Jigglypuff getting comboed instead as punishment. Does not get a follow-up after the down air. There's usually a couple of different follow-ups or mix-ups you can go to. One of them even being rest if you're gutsy, because it turns out it's not even consistent. Sometimes it'll work, but it's not guaranteed. Jigglypuff getting killed off the top again. Not looking good for the Jigglypuffster. Jigglypuffster. Jigglypuff chaining together down airs, not killing though. Finally killing with a back air. Might be a stock too late. Avoids getting killed off the top. That's a start. Double Jigglypuff up smash. Not usually seen too much. Jigglypuff actually does have some pretty good smash attacks, believe it or not. For being a character so... well, so airborne, you'd think that smash attacks would be absolutely abysmal. But it turns out that in most Smash games, being airborne is actually weaker than being on the ground. So to make up for it, Jigglypuff actually has a decent ground game, even if a lot of the moves are, for one reason or another, rather underwhelming. Jigglypuff almost just died there. Getting a lot more hits on Zero Suit Samus now than earlier. Avoids getting killed off the top. The late hitbox of the Nair. Forward smash doesn't kill. Zero Suit Samus has a rather weak forward smash. But trading with the up air is going to kill Jigglypuff. Zero Suit Samus is going to make it into the tournament. Jigglypuff will have to keep fighting for her life. And that concludes this episode of March Malcontent. I'll see you in the next episode.